Hi everyone, welcome to Queensland Raceway for the 5th round of the 2017 Shannons Nationals. A bright and beautiful, crisp morning here in Ipswich, just an hour outside of Brisbane. But don't worry, the weather will warm up as the day goes on. We've got the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge presented by Pirelli for their penultimate round on the show today, along with round 3 of the Australian GT Trophy Series. Speaking of which, they're on the racetrack now. Let's head upstairs to Darren Smith and Matt Koch for race 1.
Matt Koch jumped right alongside me here. Matt, we had a unfortunate incident during qualifying yesterday where we lost Matt Stupas and Travis Bain in a bit of coming together on the back straight.
Yeah, it was a tough one, wasn't it? In fact, it was before we even got to qualifying, so it was a case of, you know, 2 Audis down the back straight. They didn't quite get the most of that one. They came together. That took both of them out, unfortunately, for the weekend. However, we do still have 20 cars on grid. Matt Stupas and Travis Bain are not joining us. Here is the grid. So we've got Richard Gardner on pole, Rod Salmon in second, Steve McLaughlin will start in third. It's actually Jake Camilleri who will start in fourth. Yanni Nadas has been sent to the rear of grid after a problem in qualifying. It's then Rick Menzer, Aaron Cameron, Rio Nagara, Rob Smith, then got Brad Woods and Tyler Everingham. It'll be Woods starting that car in the number 94.
A lot of experience on this front row between Richard Gardner and Rod Salmon, albeit Richard Gardner's first pole in GT Trophy racing. Rod Salmon has certainly started off the front row of the grid numerous times before, and then the pile of experience in McLaughlin, Jidasa, Camilleri behind them. As they line up, the starter gives the green flag. They get halfway down the grid and they accelerate away. They stay pretty well side by side, matched up. Jidasa not looking to cut through the field at this stage in time, but it is going to be Richard Gardner that leads Salmon down into turn number 1 this time. But Camilleri right round the outside of the 2 Audis in front of him, as goes through the next one of, that's Aaron Cameron in the marked car as well. So we've got 2 GT cars, 2 marked cars, back to Steve McLaughlin that said he was just going to go with them in third place. Well, no choice on that, Steve. You've gone back to P3.
At the back, Yanni Nadas are also making hasty progress, but what a start from Jake Camilleri and Aaron Cameron through beyond Steve McLaughlin, who's dropped 2 spots in the opening half of this race, down from 3rd to 5th, our championship leader. Meanwhile, out front, Richard Gardner just extending a little advantage. Cameron right on the back of Camilleri in the battle for 3rd place as well. So it's Gardner, Salmon, Camilleri, Cameron, McLaughlin, Menzer, Nagara, Smith. The field continues to pour through. Wayne Mack also making progress from the pit lane. Yanni Nadas has also already cleared a couple of cars. He's made his way through on another as they go into braking at turn 6.
The second bunch of marked cars in this group on screen now there, with Goodacre going with Busk as they come onto the straight there. So the battle within the marked cars is already come to life. There's Johnny Goodacre in the Easy Pos sector car, being followed closely by Busk, pushing through there, and it's Menezelma. And here we've got the battle on. Rob Smith, the number 1, last year's GT Trophy champion. Johnny Goodacre, of course, a long time in saloon cars, a long time in Porsches, now spending quite a lot of time with the marked car program. Richard Menzer, CCC polished concrete Audi R8, and he has got Steve McLaughlin right in his sights as they come down into turn 4 to complete lap number 2. But at the moment, it's the yellow Lamborghini of Richard Gardner. Jan Jidasa is actually coming through the field there. Mixed up 2 Lamborghini drivers' names there, didn't I?
Yeah,
like a hybrid version of one race driver.
Yanni Nadas has already made up some 6 spots on the opening lap. He's about to pick up P7.
In fact, he's doing it quite well. He's doing it all at the right places, just driving on by, not getting too mixed up with it, not getting annoyed when he can't have his way immediately. And I guess that's the way to do it when you're coming through the field. You don't want to cause any undue incidents and wreck anyone else's run, particularly your own run during that phase of the race. Steve McLaughlin now.
It's going to feel like you say you get held up behind Cameron, don't you? Rick Menzer also beginning to buy into that battle. McLaughlin tucked up behind the marked car. He pulls out and has a bit of a look as they go down into turn 3. Doesn't look like he's going to be quite close enough this time through. A little bit further back, we've got some squabbling between a couple of marked cars as well. This is Rob Smith John Goodacre and Jason Busk.
And then fighting it out for the top 10, actually, 8th, 9th and 10th on the road for these three cars. Very similar to the battle we're seeing up the front, an Audi leading two marked cars. It's for the last spot on the podium, but these guys are fighting for a top 10 result. Rob Smith again, the R8, the Southern Star Developments outfit, a really slick-looking livery, that hybrid star, if you like, or the stylized star on the side, and then the bonnet of the car. He looks very smart. John Goodacre would be really enjoying this drive. He's got someone right in front of him, right behind him, pushing him, and that's how John spent pretty much all of his career. He's a race winner in other forms of motorsport, but here this weekend seems to have acquitted himself really nicely to the marked car type of driving style.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Rob Smith is the full attentions of John Goodacre. It's actually Jeff Taunton in the second of those marked cars, the black and orange car, as they head down into turn 3. The marked cars have got so much pace in a straight line, they don't have the grip. And so we see a little bit of toing and froing, particularly up front when we look at the battle for third place. Steve McLaughlin really starting to menace Aaron Cameron a little bit further up the road. But this is the battle for 8th place. Rob Smith, John Goodacre.
The back shot there of Ginadasa pushing his way through the field, getting through on
That's Manny Manaselma there.
Selma in the Porsche.
Like a knife through butter at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah.
Ginadasa, he's absolutely rocketing up the leaderboard. He's now into 11th place, having started down in 19th. So 8 places in just 3 laps.
And he's doing it well too. He's doing it very sensibly. He's not swathing a sword through the field. He's just getting through where he can, where an opportunity opens up. He's getting in there and driving on by. And he'll hit the brick wall at some point where he's matching the pace of where he's really at, probably as he gets back onto the back of, I would suggest, getting through up to probably the CCC polished concrete car of Rick Mensa was probably where I guess water will find its level at that point.
I wonder if Camilleri's got problems. In fact, the car that was sitting third has slowed dramatically. We're looking at Jan Ginadasa as he carves through the field, through past Jeff Taunton. He's just gone. Next up the road will be John Goodacre. Just a little bit further up, you can see the red marked car flashing through the screen. Lost a lot of pace. He looks like he's back up to speed now. I wonder if he's lost a gear or something in that car.
Certainly not ideal coming out of turn 3, because you really have to have a strong run up to 4. And we just saw him get gazumped and lost 3 spots almost instantly. And that's what happens early on in the race when you're all still close together. But he's gone from a podium position, Jake Camilleri, back to 6th in the number 93.
He's not accelerating up to full speed, is he? I wonder if he's lost top gear, and as a result, or perhaps he's stuck in 5th gear, because the car's just not accelerating. He's losing ground even to Rick Mensa now. So Ginadasa on the back of Smith. Just poked the nose of the Lamborghini out, just showed Smith the front of that Lamborghini in the mirrors. They're tucked up one behind the other. Should be well up behind that Audi. In fact, he's all over the back of it as they go through turn 2. Almost too close to get a really good run. Lamborghini's got the pace. He's also got the slipstream. He'll pull out. They'll go side by side up the back straight. Under brakes is going to be Jan Ginadasa with a high ground, but he's got to get it stopped. He's got to get it rotated into the corner. Otherwise, he'll open the door straight back up for Smith to walk on through. Ginadasa manages to keep it all together, takes that position.
I guess that was the first big challenge for Ginadasa, and he sort of pulled it off relatively easy. It was a side-by-side battle. He positioned himself in the correct spot for the run up the inside, and now Ginadasa out after this lead bunch that lines him up into 8th place in only 7.5 laps. So it's a good run so far for Ginadasa, and I think the intelligent way he's going about it is he's not using up the tyre too much. It's like an organic growth. It's just happening as it's unfolding, but Rob Smith's not letting go. The number 1 car wants to go with Ginadasa here. Yeah,
Rob Smith has thrown out the tow rope and latched onto the back as we watch a replay of the Lamborghini. Under brakes, Smith doesn't fight too hard, lives to fight another day.
Gee, the Lamborghini really bobbled on its wheelbase there as it hit those blocks leading into turn 3, didn't it?
A little bit further back, the battle for 3rd. McLaughlin still tucked up behind the impressive Aaron Cameron. On debut in a marked car, on debut in the Australian GT Trophy Series presented by Pirelli. He's not really driven anything like this before. Really, really impressive showing to resist that pressure. In fact, he's not even going defensive. How's the confidence from the youngster? He knows where the strengths of that Mark car is. He knows he didn't have to go over and cover the line from the attack. McLaughlin, nose to tail, they still run. He's just absorbing that pressure. What a mega drive from Aaron Cameron.
I don't even think Aaron's got complete awareness of how close McLaughlin is to him, and he's just driving his own race. He's not positioning the car defensively at all. He's maintaining a race, the ultimate racing line, and just doing it without an out pace. This is where the GT3 car will swing into its own right now.
I said that the Audi doesn't have the top speed. The Mark car is so strong. In theory, McLaughlin should be better under brakes, but Cameron, if he can hang it wide there, he should have the inside line. This time, though, McLaughlin finally gets the initiative, seizes the racing line, sweeps back across the track, gets that position. He should now pull away quite quickly, but what a drive from Cameron. Really, really impressive couple of laps there.
Here we go again. This is the run. The Audi just bobbling on those bumps again as it is on the inside of that corner. Threshold braking. And really good driving by both those drivers, giving each other tons of respect and allowing them to race on. Wayne Mack now, 9 at 147, into the 10 and off.
Yeah, well off.
Well off down at turn 3 there.
Long at turn 3. He's just going to skate through. He did that in qualifying as well.
I think that's the third time he's actually bounced through that gravel trap. So he's exploring his options, that's for sure. Heading right out wide there, making sure that he knows exactly how deep he can go. So come back about a metre now, mate.
Yeah, you can see what he's trying to do, go underneath Rob Smith there. Just got in too hot, too deep. Couldn't pull it up on the dirt.
And Rob Smith actually looked to get out of the way then. He saw that coming.
Yeah. Good awareness from Smith to avoid that one. Mack bouncing through the gravel. Car away a little bit more now than it did just a couple of minutes ago. This is the battle for the lead. The yellow car, race leader Richard Gardner, ahead of the number 6, Rod Salmon. They've been nose to tail almost since the get-go. Salmon, you can see he's got so much more mid-corner pace, but Gardner just straightens that Lamborghini, plants the right foot and just pulls away down the straight. There's so much power in that Lamborghini, and that's the strength around Queensland Raceway. It's just got the juice to go where it matters, and Salmon's just absolutely powerless. So he's got a good run through turn 1, has a look through underneath at turn 2, can't get the move done.
Gee, the Audi's extremely well balanced here this weekend, isn't it? To be able to close the gap up like he did at that mid-corner, the highest load point here at Queensland Raceway. And to the inside down at turn 4. Won't make it stick, just eases by Con Whitlock in the similar Audi R8 there. Con Whitlock has gone right back down to 18th place after he stopped on the exit of turn 3.
Pit stop starting to happen down in pit lane.
It's the number 12 Ferrari. It's a driver change there. Nikolov and Aratoon. It's Nikolovsky getting in, isn't it?
Yeah. Jake Cavalieri is also in pit lane, so too John Goodacre. Our race leaders opt to carry on. Richard Gardner, the fastest man in the race so far. A new lap record of 1 minute 11.0 set. So Gardner and Salmon regimes out front. They're closing up on the back of it. Looks like it's going to be one of the Ferraris out there. It might be still looking. The Fiorano Motorsport Ferrari 458 Challenge.
Gee, the 430 still strikes a nice pose, doesn't it? There's nothing lost on the magnificent styling of what Ferrari bring to the racetrack. We've got a generation apart here coming out of the lane, the 458 and the 430.
458 has such pedigree in Australian GT, of course. Rod Salmon just dropped 2 wheels off the grid, off the track here. Out of turn 5. Just heard his run. Scott Hookey, though, has balked Richard Gardner. That's given Rod Salmon a bit of a look, although he's having to go the long way around. Gardner will get the run up the inside on the Ferrari, which is so quick in a straight line. He'll have to bleed out of it into turn 1. Gardner will get through. Will Salmon also get through, or will Hookey close the door on him? So half closes it, makes Salmon think twice about it. So that's just going to allow Gardner to edge away just ever so slightly. Gets through now at turn 2. So first and second uninterrupted once more.
So our leaders have lapped up, right up to position 10 at the moment. There goes the Ginetta out of pit lane. wasn't that long ago that an iteration of the Ginetta was on the front row of the grid of the Australian GT Championship at Phillip Island. It's the Ginetta watch, and he is currently in P5 as we see Rod Salmon come to the lane as well. McLaughlin's still exiting the lane. Jeff Taunton in as well in the Mark car. So McLaughlin rejoins in 9th.
And in a heap of traffic.
Yeah, and smack bang in it.
Yeah, so he's tucked up in behind John Goodacre. Rob Smith just behind him as we watch Rod Salmon in the pit lane. Ria Nagara just in behind him, the endurance lights ablaze. This is Rob Smith ahead of him, Steve McLaughlin, who's just emerged from pit lane. You can see the traffic he's in. In fact, it's Con Whitlock ahead, so he should clear Whitlock pretty quickly. There he goes. In fact, next car on the road is Rick Menser, who's also made his stop already. And he was one that we suggested early on, watch for him, because he'll climb the leaderboard once we get to the pit stops.
We'll be back after this quick break here at the Shannons Nationals.
Welcome back trackside here at round 5 of the Shannons Nationals with the Australian GT Trophy Series for their race 1, first 50-minute race for the weekend.
Gardner, in fact, does come into pit lane now, so we now need to keep our eye on Salmon. Richard Gardner will be stationary for 46 seconds, 4 seconds less than Rod Salmon. The question is, can the Wall Racing team look after the safety stop Lamborghini, get him out in time? Bit of traffic out there as well. We'll throw down to Rolsey in the lane.
Yeah, I'm with Baz, and Baz, what were the instructions there?
Mate, we just had he's got a slight clutch problem, so we just stopped, got him to switch the engine off, but when he turned it back on, he was having some difficulty starting it, so it was a 20-second stop that ended up being 38. So it's not what you would need it. He was doing a good job out there. He's picking up heaps of paces.
Plenty of time left there. Can he claw that back?
Yeah, no, he'd be right. He'll. We got the tyres set, so they should start coming on any time now. So hopefully he'll rampage home, mate.
And what are your final instructions to him?
Go hard, don't look back.
Good luck, mate. Back to you, boys.
Oh, fantastic. Exactly what we expect from Barry Hayes. A big guy, and when he tells you to go hard, you go hard, that's for sure. Nothing quite like team management telling you to do that.
Absolutely. So Samuel, we've just seen him flash through screen. He's still in second place. Gardner managed to rejoin in the lead. In fact, he's extended that by about 4 seconds, don't you think?
Yeah,
probably about the difference between their pit stop window. So Gardner continues to head this race.
Really good call from Wall Racing there.
Covered off the move from Audi Sport Customer Racing Australia when they bought Rod Salmon in the Squirt Online Education entry, the number 6 car, chasing that bright yellow Lamborghini. He's got Colin Whitlock in the Actazime Audi R8 LMS in between he and the race leader. He'll get through on Whitlock pretty quickly. In fact, he clears him now a little bit further back. We're looking at Rob Smith. He's now in 7th place, which is an effective 5th on road by the time the pit stops shake out. So the race now starting to form, dominoes dropping into pace. Gardner continues to lead from Salmon. Out front, Rod Salmon, his charge towards the front continues. He's just set a new lap record, the first man to drop into the 1:10 barrier in race trim. 1:10.99 is the new lap record. Richard Gardner continues to lead, but his gap has shrunk from over 4 seconds to just 1.8 at the very pointy end. Ria Nagara also on a charge. We saw him flashing the endurance lights. This is the Squirt Online Education Audi R8 LMS Ultra of Salmon, honing in on the back of Gardner. Has Richard Gardner punished those tyres in the first half of this race, or has he just managed them so that he's got a little bit of the Pirelli P0 rubber in reserve for the back end of this 50-minute race? 14 minutes left on the clock. Salmon now almost with our race leader, just 1.5 seconds at the last split. It's visibly closer than that now. Coming up on Scott Hawkey just up the road. Probably catch him into turn 1 or 2, you would think. Salmon, just ceaseless, the pressure that he's applying to Gardner.
We've got a black flag being readied now as our race leader streams across the line. We've got 13.5 minutes left in the race. Not too sure what the number is that's being...
88, it's Ria Nagara who's been given that black flag. He'll have to come through and serve a drive-through penalty. Not sure what that was for. Most likely a pit stop infringement, perhaps too many people working on the car or something like that. Pit lane speeding, perhaps. We're down to Rosie in pit lane.
Jake, not the place you want to be this stage of the race. What happened?
Yeah, it was all looking well. I had a good start. We were running third, and for the first 5 laps, I thought, oh, good pace. I'll be able to manage it from here, and then all of a sudden, wouldn't shift down. So I sort of started to manage it and using the clutch, and it was starting to work again. And then all of a sudden, it was just jammed in 5th gear, and I couldn't. It's a bit hard getting out of some of these corners in 5th gear. So we come in, do the compulsory stop to see if we could do something, but it's a bit more than just a little fix. So yeah, sitting out.
Well, it's a good call there. Matt Koch called gearbox failure on that car there with Jake Camilleri as soon as it started to slow, and Jake crept that car back into the pit lane and doing it well here, looking onto the back of Con Whitlock there with 2 marked cars menacing all over the back of it. Here they come now, and they are running down Queensland Raceway back straight. Looking out is Johnny Goodacre, and then the number 94 car, which is Tyler Everingham, at the wheel of that car at the moment. Goodacre gets through on Con Whitlock as he goes back another spot. There's Jake Camilleri back out on track in the number 93 Enviro Tech car. Absolutely out of contention, some 14, 15 laps down now, but it looks like they've resolved that gearbox issue, and that puts them in good stead coming into race 2.
How's the pace from Salmon? There's so much mid-corner speed from that Audi. 2.5 minutes left, and he's all over the back of Richard Gardner out front of this race here. The safety stop Lamborghini has the pace in a straight line once again, as we've seen all race. Into turn 3, doesn't feel the need to go defensive. Salmon takes the high line, trying to carry that speed through the corner. Just loses a little bit on exit, runs so wide he almost drops a wheel off the left-hand side of the circuit. Gardner just easing that gap open. But Salmon, every time they're having to stop, he just bites back into it. Every time they stamp on the throttle, Gardner edges away. The ebbs and flows of sports car racing. Up the road, they're about to hit Con Whitlock, and a little bit further up the road, they might just avoid it. There's a whole gaggle of cars just going into turn 1 as they round the final corner. Con Whitlock's only a couple hundred metres up the road from Gardner, so they'll probably pick him up turn 1 or 2. Salmon as close as he's been through turn 1 with Whitlock ahead. That might just provide him the opportunity he needs. Whitlock doesn't really get out of the way. That's balked Gardner. That's hampered his run onto the back straight. He'll now get through, but Salmon as close as he's ever been. He's in the slipstream of that Lamborghini, who still just edges away. The pace in that Lamborghini is extraordinary as they go down into turn 3. Salmon closes right up. We've got a white flag for a slow-moving car out there. That looks like the John Goodacre marked car just on the driver's right.
Salmon putting a couple of number 11s down there as he got a big wheel spin coming out of turn 3. As rapid as the Lamborghini is in a straight line, the Audi seems to be so well balanced and poised that mid-corner and under brakes it is absolutely got its strength over and above the Lamborghini of Gardner. Gardner is getting the throttle down nice and early and being able to get good drive off the corner. As Goodacre stops in the dying seconds of this race, he has ground to and hold on the entrance to turn 4. Here's our lead again. This is where it's going to happen, 30 seconds. So next time round, we'll see the checkered flag come out for, well, will it be a yellow Lamborghini?
It should be now. That Ginetta getting in between them should just split them up enough. The Lamborghini's got the advantage in a straight line, but how's the mid-corner pace from Salmon? He's just cruised up to the gearbox of that Lamborghini, and now it just edges away. It must be so painful to get so close every lap, only to see it
frustrating.
Clear,
Dive again. Puts the nose right around the outside, runs wide. This is actually going to be good. He'll have good exit speed here in the Squirk Audi. So, it goes off, hits the dirt, goes off on driver's left, bounces off the back of the ripple strip. Let's hope it hasn't done any damage to his car for the race that's going to start in an hour and a half's time. And will he bring it home in position 2? Because that's given Gartner the breathing space that he needs. So Rod Salmon managed to get 50 minutes, absolute maximum concentration and no mistakes. And on the last time, on the exiting of turn 3, 3 corners from the checkered flag, he manages to go off. The tall and the short of Australian motor racing there. Barton Moore next to Barry Hay on the wall for to cheer Rod Salmon through to the end there. But it's the Wall Racing crew that will have a massive congratulations to Richard Gartner, who will take race 1 for this weekend's GT Trophy race, leading home the ever-charging Rod Salmon. Steve McLaughlin into 3rd in the same sort of car. Wayne Mack, the first of the Ferraris home, and a good drive from the back of the grid in 4th place. Rob Smith, car 1 in his Audi as well in 5th. Rick Mensa to the line. Young Jedadasa, who also came from the back of the grid, home in 7th. Aaron Cameron in the first of the marked cars, getting home there. Rio Nagara rounding out the 10 is Mark Griffith.
We knew he had to get first into turn 1. And then after that, I knew Salmon was a bit quicker, but I knew he's not going to be able to get me unless I make a mistake. And so I just tried to drive a mistake-free race, which we done.
Yeah, lots of fun. You know, close. When you got 2 mates that are different, they've got a bit of strength in one area, I've got strength in the other. You know, it was who got pole and who got in front. I just couldn't get past him.
So
This is the start of the race.
Yeah. How's this Rod Salmon? Looked like he jumped the start. Nothing came of that. He was able to hold that spot for the first half of this race. Try as Richard Gartner might. A bit further back, John Goodacre putting a move on Magic Mendessalma, who went backwards in the first half of this race, just didn't have the pace to get the job done in race 2. John Goodacre taking that place from him quite easily. Yanni Nadasa had a good race, a couple of battles up and down the order. This time putting a move on Rick Mensa down at turn 3 using the brakes of that Lamborghini. Gets that position from the Audi.
Here's Gary Manel, who's sharing with Kane Booker here this weekend. Just getting a passing manoeuvre put on them there by the 430. And the Janetta in behind. So that was actually the race that mattered. And here is Salmon exiting the pits. Try as he might negate that pit stop, the timed pit stop that he did. It certainly was a bit tough. The forklifting car number 1, the rear steering Audi there. And ultimately, that might have been part of the issue that raised its head later on in the race. Maybe he was getting a bit of oil onto the tyres early.
That's a good point, isn't it? Good pickup there, Daz. But there's the smoke at the back of Smith's car. It led to what we're seeing now. Smoke pouring out of the engine bay. The Audi R8 from the 2016 series winner. Richard Gartner, superb drive all weekend. He's been on the pace. He's taken maximum points. He was fastest in both qualifying sessions. He won race 1. He's just taken the checkered flag in race 2. Sensational effort from Richard Gartner.
Yeah, it was a tough gig, especially at the beginning. I'm not sure what happened there. I think Rob might just have been a little bit quick at the start, but it's fine. So I just tried to stay with him. I knew when we had the pit stop sequence that I should be able to jump him from there. So it was, again, a calculated race. And yeah, look, everything went perfect. The car is absolutely smint to drive. The team has done just a fantastic job to get it within 3 races to where it is. And so I couldn't be happier.
The running of the Porsche GT3 Challenge Jim Richards Endurance Trophy this weekend, finishing off with the winner in Jordan Love. Congratulations, mate.
Yeah, thank you. No, it was a great race. Definitely a long one out there. Got quite warm, but yeah, no, super happy to come away with the win.
What does it mean to win a trophy like the Jim Richards Endurance Trophy? It's just another trophy on the shelf, but it's a pretty important one.
No, very important one. You know, I think it's something we were really striving for this year, and yeah, no, super happy to come away with that. And now it's sort of, you know, get down, head down, be focused for the big one now. So yeah, no, really looking forward to it.
First year in the GT3 Cup Challenge. How have you enjoyed it? I mean, you're winning races, so that obviously helps.
Yeah, no, it's been wicked, and I think, you know, to come away with the win so far, it's just to top it off, really. It's been a wicked year, and yeah, super happy with it.
Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge cars making their way onto the grid. Welcome, Richard Crail. We had a great run last night with Jim Richards, and we're going to do it all again now for a couple of sprint races.
Yeah, terrific win for Jordan Love, the young West Australian for Sonic Motor Racing. A lights to flag victory, almost. Brenton Grove led the opening couple of laps. Really good performance, though, from Jordan Love to wrap up the Jim Richards Endurance Trophy. It was his 11th win of the season, puts him 6th on the all-time winners list in GT3 Cup Challenge, which is a particularly impressive statistic given this is his first season. So the net result is he lines up on the front row alongside Brenton Grove. Anthony Gilbertson and John Caratinos are on the second row of the grid with Sam Shahin and John Morris the third. Ross McGregor, Brendan Cook, David Grigg, who had a ripping battle for Class B, and Tony Martin rounding out the top 10. So away we go. Both of the front runners almost stalled their Porsches as they launched towards turn one. They had to take 2 bites at the cherry to get the car off the line, but Love did it better than Grove, and as a result, he leads into turn one. Anthony Gilbertson jumps the Grove Group car and he moves into second place. Brenton Grove to third will need to get past Gilbertson as quickly as he can to go after his young rival at the front of the field. So real hesitation from the 2 guys in the front of the grid, and it's cost one of them quite badly. He's down to third place.
Certainly did there. What a great start from the Hallmark Homes car. Anthony Gilbertson getting a really good jump away there. Sam Shahin's actually going to go with them here as well. He's got himself into P4 as they come out of turn 3 this time around. But here's the battle as we see Jordan Love in the Quintus car. Grove down the inside, fires it down there on Gilbertson, left the door wide open, and he really has to get on with this job now. It's a rapid fire 12 lapper. This will be over before they know it, these guys, and Brendan Grove now really needs to find a couple of seconds a lap in this opening stanza to weigh in on a result here.
Well, as much as Anthony Gilbertson would have liked to fight for that, he's got bigger fish to fry because he's in a really close and intense battle with Sam Shahin for the elite class, the race within a race in GT3 Cup Challenge. So his focus is on car 13, that orange and black HTFU Porsche that's running 4th place. So Brenton Grove's in his own little battle with Jordan Love for the outright championship. Anthony Gilbertson's got the class win to deal with, and yesterday had a very good result for that. 3rd outright, 1st in class in the challenge race. And fortunately for his championship point of view, he had John Caratinos between himself and Sam Shahin. So it worked very, very nicely for the Hallmark Homes driver who, having spent a lot of time in Adelaide, now calls Queensland home. So this is very much home turf for him.
The interesting thing off the line was that Gilbertson, the door opened up for him and he went straight through into the middle two. Johnny Caratinos, on the other hand, was sort of hung out to dry a little bit there, and he's actually gone back one spot because Sam Shahin came charging on through off the start there as well. So we'll see Johnny start to come on song there, and he's actually got John Morris, who had a bit of an up and down race yesterday afternoon, and he's dropped himself into 6th on the road with Ross McGregor in behind him.
John didn't have a good start yesterday. He started 7th and then dropped back to 10th and worked his way forward. So it was a really good drive through the field. We're watching Brett Bolton. He's applying the pressure to the back of Brendan Cook's Class B car. Brett Bolton had the biggest getaway you've ever seen at Queensland Raceway by firing the car up the road on the opening lap, locked the brakes, was too deep, trying to make aggressive moves on the opening lap. He fired it down at turn 3, had an enormous lose. The sole damage was a damaged rim, a ruined Pirelli tyre, and a 1-inch scar on the front corner of his car where he just grazed the wall, and that was it. He got away with one yesterday, and he knows it too, but he has the job to do, working his way from the back of the grid in the Bold Group car. But he's up to 8th place now. Good opening lap for the McElrea driver in his first full year of Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Australia. Really good battle yesterday too for Class B honours between Brendan Cook and David Grigg. I spoke to Griggy this morning and he was really enjoying that fight. Said 40 laps, it doesn't sound like a long way around a 6-turn circuit, but he said at the end of it, I was absolutely stuffed. Worked really, really hard, but a terrific battle between himself and Brendan Cook in that white and red number 11 car, who's up to P9 at the moment and has Shane Barwood behind him. So it's part of the joy of GT3 Cup Challenge, Daz. There's races in a race with multiple classes and multiple storylines.
Yeah, it certainly is, and along the way you get to drive one of the world's most finest race cars as well, don't you? The Porsche Cup cars, renowned for their strengths in that longer distance racing. But I tell you what, 12 laps around Queensland Raceway, they're going to know about it as well. This is a frantic pace that they're going to have to set right up for 2 races here today over the same sort of distance.
Interested to see what sort of pace they're doing as well, because we could be somewhere near lap record territory with this field today. It's a 1:10.99. It was set in 2015 by the great Ryan Simpson. Last time round on his 3rd fly, Jordan Love did an 11.6, so only 0.6 of a second away from that. Good early pace in really good conditions. A little little bit of cloud cover today, so the track temperature not so high as it was yesterday. Ambient temperature coming up, so it's a perfect recipe for fast lap times. Fastest man on the track at the moment is Gilbertson, but he's got some pressure from behind. So this is the fight for third on the road and first in the elite class between the Hallmark Holmes car from McElroy Racing and the Buick Motorworks prepared HTFU entry of Sam Shaheen.
I guess the interesting thing is here that on lap 3 we've seen Jordan Love go so fast, and we know that the Pirelli at lap 5 and 6 is where it starts to become the faster tyre, and it will be interesting to see what Jordan Love can do with that once he gets up to speed. 3.5 second lead now over Brenton Grove, who's got a equal 3-second lead back to Anthony Gilbertson, but it's that battle with Shaheen and Karatinos and John Morris. It's a little sort of equal distance gaps backwards to those guys, so it's about a second between each of them, but I dare say John Morris is still trying to push, trying to drag something of a result out of this weekend's racing.
This elite class battle pretty intense. It was 4 points to the advantage of Sam Shaheen coming into the weekend. It was a 10-point swing to the favour of Gilbertson yesterday, so 4-point deficit into a 6-point lead. Very, very close between the two of them, and they're very evenly matched racing car drivers in evenly matched cars, and both driving very, very well this year, ticking off personal bests at every round they do. So too Jordan Love, our race leader, pounding away and setting very quick lap times. An 11.4 last time round for the leader is the fastest lap of the race. He's got 3.7 seconds over Brenton Grove. Gilbertson running third with Shaheen behind him in fourth, having that battle. And then we go back to this fight between South Australians John Karatinos in the Richmond's Buick Motorworks Porsche, and behind them John Morris, Motorsport leasing car, who probably passed more cars than anyone yesterday, but did it because he didn't get off the line particularly well. Today, start was good, and he's now in the mix with guys that he knows he's got the pace and the experience to race with. The man that at Sydney Motorsport Park last time out notched up a milestone in terms of round starts in the GT3 Cup Challenge. Actually, we're ticking off a few stats this year, Darren. Jordan Love is now racking his way up the winning order. He's fifth on the all-time round winners list. Matt Kingsley next is fourth with 4 round wins. He's got 11 race wins to his credit as Brett Bolton goes down the inside of Ross McGregor. So that's a pass for 7th place. Bolton goes through on the Speedy Victorian, who had a really good day yesterday. 11 wins, 6 on the all-time list. If he wins both races today, he will tie 3rd on the all-time list, which is Jeff Bobbick, Kane Rose and Richard Muscat. Some pretty heavy hitters in terms of the history of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge. They've got 13 race wins to their credit.
We'll be back after this quick break here at the Shannons Nationals.
Welcome back trackside here at the round 5 of the Shannons Nationals. This is for 9th, 10th and 11th on the road. That Motec car there, Phil Morris, many, many years of competition. He's a national champion back in the Triple S Pulsar days as he fires it down the inside of the number 11.
Yeah, and that's a good example of the difference between the later 997 car, which is the one Phil Morris is driving, and the Generation 1 997 being driven by Brendan Cook, who's in Class B. So the Gen 1 car is a slightly different shape, but 3.6 litres compared to 3.8, down about 50 horsepower. No, Gilbertson from 3rd place has spun, and Sam Shaheen's in there as well. And Sam looked like he was missing the front splitter on his car.
Looked like it got torn off, didn't it, as he exited the sand trap there?
And he's got damage, Gilbertson, on his right front corner of that car. So there's been a drama down at turn 6 between the two challengers for the elite division in GT3 Cup Challenge.
Gee, what it's done is allowed Johnny Karatinos and John Morris through there as well, so that'll really mix things up at the top of the elite class.
So unseen by us, they were running close. There wasn't much between them in terms of track position. Let's have a look. Turn 6, braking zone. Oh, Anthony did it all on his own. So he locked the rears going in. He went quite deep, locked the rear brakes, had a half spin into the gravel. Sam had nowhere to go there. So in terms of a racing incident, no one's at fault. Anthony just a little bit too deep in the Hallmark car, locked the rear brakes, had his own moment, and poor old Sam had nowhere to go and did the damage by running into the car that all of a sudden he found parked in front of him.
Yeah, it was very difficult for Sam Shaheen to not get involved in that then. And there's the net end result. A bit of panel damage. He's lost that critical front splitter off the front of the 997, and the flare arch there as well.
Yeah, just the wheel arch of just a plastic component that bolts onto the guard. So it's not a critical component. That front splitter we talk about that sits below the orange component, below that Pirelli sign on the front of the HTFU car, that is critical and generates a lot of front downforce and stops these cars from understeering. So Sam will be struggling for the closing stages of this race. He just needs to limp that car home and get some points because he is in front of Anthony Gilbertson. So that will swing the margin back to the favour of the South Australian in car 13. Ross McGregor now chasing Anthony Gilbertson. So I think Gilbo's actually lost the front splitter on his car too. So they're probably both as compromised as each other in terms of their handling the understeer in the front of these cars.
I guess the points haul for Shaheen at the moment on 34 and Gilbertson 36 is going to swings and roundabouts of what they achieved yesterday, isn't it?
They levelled it out. They were 4 points apart coming into the weekend. As Jordan Love, he's not 4 points apart from anything. He's miles in front. A big victory, the 12th of his GT3 Cup Challenge season. And Jordan Love wins in Queensland for the second time this weekend. Very impressive performance and a lights to flag victory today. John Karatinos is going to be third and will jump to the top in the elite standings for the round. Jordan Love is the winner. Brenton Grove in second. John Karatinos, a well-earned third in front of John Morris and Brett Bolton, who did that from the back of the field. Sam Shahin was sixth, Anthony Gilbertson seventh, and Ross McGregor, Shane Barwood ninth, and Phil Morris rounded out the top 10.
No, it was good. You know, we went out there and really focused on the start that time, and we managed to get the jump in the start and lead into turn one, which has just been a thing that hasn't been too regular so far this season. But yeah, no, really happy we managed to do that. And then after that, it was just head down, try and manage the gap, which we managed to do. And yeah, no, it's a nice, clean race.
I changed my start procedure to yesterday, and I had an awesome start yesterday, so I don't know why I did that. And then I dropped back, and I mean, Jordan's as quick as me, if not a little bit quicker. So I mean, once you get a bad start and you lose a bit of time, it's nearly impossible to get it back unless it's a safety car or something else. So for the rest of the race, we're just kind of driving by ourselves.
We're looking forward to the final race in the penultimate round of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Australia, presented by Pirelli. It's Love and Grove on the front row. On the second row is John Karatinos, who inherited a third place on the grid in race 2, but drove very, very well with good pace to get that. John Morris fourth, Brett Bolton fifth, having charged from the back of the field. Sam Shahin goes from sixth. Then Anthony Gilbertson, Ross McGregor, Shane Barwood, and Phil Morris will round out the top 10. Will it be a whole lot of love for Jordan, or will Brenton get one on his young rival and help even the ledger a little bit going into the final round? Ready for a start. 12 laps is the distance. We're away. It's a good start for Brenton Grove. Gripped up side of the racetrack works at Queensland Raceway. Now it's an arm wrestle into turn one. Good start from Karatinos in behind. Gilbertson sweeps across in front of his teammate and shuts the door there on Brett Bolton and goes through, and then gets one on John Morris as well into turn two.
As does Bolton, gets through on Morris as well.
But it's a good start for Love. Grove right behind, then Karatinos, then Sam Shahin with that repaired front bumper bar.
Gilbertson onto the back of him there as well as they plunge down into turn 3 for the first time. Out in front, it's all clean. It's going to get a bit messy mixed up here. Sam Shahin goes through with the undercoat bumper on the front there, and the field absolutely bobbles up all behind them there. What has happened, though, is that John Morris has been shuffled back about 3 spots in the opening couple of corners.
Yeah, all pretty frisky stuff for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th behind them. So Sam Shahin now through to P3. He knows how important this fight is with Anthony Gilbertson in the battle for the elite division, and he'd love very much for his teammate John Karatinos to be in between the two of them, as he was in race 1 on Saturday. Tony Martin's had a spin, so the Triffid car pointing in the wrong direction. He's over at turn 4. We'll live to fight another day. No safety car. Race is on. Leaders clearing out. The fight is on for 3rd place as we watch Sam Shahin and John Karatinos.
Certainly is. The battle's going to rage here for the elite cars. But our race leader, Jordan Love, has already got himself just under a second lead over Brenton Grove. The gap back now, quite a gap back, nearly 2 seconds to Sam Shahin. And charging down to turn 3. Now Gilbertson up the inside of Karatinos. It's a long plunge for the Hallmark Homes driver. He's going to pull it off. as Karatimos in the number 16 will get relegated one spot as they exit 3.
Yeah, but like the homes they build, that was a nicely constructed move. It started back at turn 2 and was telegraphed all the way down into the braking zone at turn 3. Nicely done. Gilbertson gets himself to 4th place in front of John Karatinos.
Someone's kicking him from 50 metres out today, Richard.
Thank you very much. And as we go back and have a look at this move. So that started before the replay kicked off because it was all a good run through turn 2. You get that good corner exit out of that fast corner and then slice down the inside. I spoke to both Anthony Gilbertson and Sam Sheehan between races. Both of them lost that little rubber splitter beneath the front bumper bar on these cars, and both were telling me how undrivable the cars are through turn 2 with that missing. It just creates understeer, and you can wind all the lock in the world on. Your car doesn't want to go around the corner. Sam Sheehan was a little bit concerned because that incident down at turn 6 destroyed their left front tyre. So they've rotated their tyre from yesterday's race that did all the work on the left front corner of car 13 onto the right front. So they've got their best possible tyre on. A little bit further back, here's a good little battle pack. It's being led by Shane Barwood. He's got Phil Morris in the midst of it there in the Motec car. He's up the inside of Shane Barwood, who is actually just past the speedy Victorian.
These cars garage next to each other away from the racetrack.
And down the inside goes Phil. That's a nice move. So similar to what we saw from Anthony Gilbertson a couple of laps ago. Sliced down the inside and Phil just gave him one car width. Behind them is David Gregg, and in front of his Class B rival, Brendan Cook. So that'll be critical for the Class B round victory. Good chat to Greggy before this race, a former Victorian rally competitor, quite competitively in 2-wheel drive and then 4-wheel drive cars. Decided that rallying wasn't his thing at the end there and decided to move across to circuit racing and started in his Porsche at the end of last season. But he's been mates with the Morris boys, especially Phil, for 30 years. So he was brought into the Porsche family by Phil Morris, and he's partnered up with those guys to go motor racing and really enjoying it, really enjoying the battle he's been having with Brendan Cook all weekend long. So here's Brett Bolton. His team were telling me how impressed they were with some of the moves he was pulling off in race 2 earlier today. A few little moments where they thought he might have come from a little bit too far back, but he made them all stick. Very nice driving from the back of the field for Brett Bolton. He's still in his first season of Porsche GT3 Cup racing, but it's going to go well anywhere. It'll be here. Personal best lap by about 0.6 of a second in qualifying. He'd never gone quicker at Queensland Raceway. And given that this is their test track, that's a big tick in the box. When you throw new tyres at the car, you're under pressure. You've got 20 minutes to deliver a lap time. And he did the job, so the team were really impressed with that.
Well, John Morris understeer on the exit and oversteer on the 6 there, and then as you can do in a Porsche, by the right pedal, and you get a bit of oversteer there, exiting as well. So John getting a handful, half race distance, and we're back to the race leaders. Jordan Love hasn't managed to get too far away from Brendan Grove at this point in time.
Check this out, big move, big exit out of turn 2. We know how good Anthony Gilbertson is under brakes into 3. Might not need to worry about that because he's already alongside. There's a little bit of contact with Sam Sheehan. So the 2 leaders in the elite class bump wheels going into the right-hander. Fortunately, Sam didn't have any steering lock on there because if he did, it might have broken the steering on the number 13 car. This is a really aggressive battle, and Sheehan will now send it to the outside for turn 4 and look for a switch back through that fast left-hander at 5 and maybe a move down at 6. So this fight has now come alive. It's 3rd and 4th on the road, but there's more to it to that because it's for the class win. And they're basically locked together in points, not just for the weekend, but for the championship overall going into the final round.
Come onto the front straight this time. Sheehan lost the spot over at 3. He'd like to get it back, but with those wheels coming together like that, that could have ended up in tears for both of them. As they bobbled together over those bumps down into turn 3, they were in unison with each other.
Well, I think Karatinos would have been happy if they both carted themselves off the road. Here's a look. So 235 km/h approach to a heavy stop for a 2nd gear corner. And they're wheel to wheel. So it's almost like Gilbertson was moving left and Sheehan right. So they almost converged on each other and a little bit of a bump, but neither of them had steering lock on, so no damage to either car, which is lucky, because otherwise it would have caused a fairly large off at a fairly large rate of knots down there at turn 3.
Yeah, the biggest threshold braking corner here at QR down there. It's a big stop. I tell you what, the party will continue at the round 6 of the Shannons Nationals at Phillip Island for the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge, presented by Pirelli, the final round, and it's going to go down to the wire, particularly in the elite class. These two on screen as we speak are going to take the battle right up. It might be the series party on the Saturday night, but it's going to go right down to the end of the final race of the season for those two to see how it plays out for the elite class.
They're on their final lap at Queensland Raceway. These two have not given up. So out of the final corner, John Caratinos will get on the podium in the elite class. P2 in points. So a really productive weekend for the South Aussie. He missed the last round at Sydney Motorsport Park, but always a fast runner in GT3 Cup. And this fight continues. He's under pressure from Brett Bolton, who's looking to leap himself up into P5 at the end of this. Jordan Love has got but a few corners to go. He's heading down into turn 6. Darren Aerosmith once sung a song about love in an elevator, and this elevator's only going up. It's win number 10 in a row for Jordan Love. An impressive performance, another clean sweep, and a built larger championship lead there for the young West Aussie, who continues to thrive in one-make Porsche racing. Terrific performance, and Gilbertson beats Sheehan across the line for 3rd place. So Jordan Love wins race 3 and the round for Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge presented by Pirelli. Brenton Grove in 2nd, Anthony Gilbertson 3rd, then Sam Sheehan and John Caratinos P5, Brett Bolton, John Morris, Ross McGregor, Rob Woods in 9th, and Phil Morris completed the top 10.
The winner of the round here at Queensland Raceway, Jordan Love. Congratulations, a fantastic weekend.
Yeah, great. No, can't complain really. It's been a wicked weekend. Even starting off at practice, it was great. The car felt really good. Felt really like in a rhythm, and yeah, no, it's been good all weekend. Yeah, no, it's wicked. It's been wicked last couple of rounds. The first 2 or 3 rounds we made a few mistakes, which cost us a little bit, and ever since then it's sort of been, try and minimise those mistakes, which we've managed to do, and yeah, it's paid off.
Well, there's no stopping Jordan Love as he inches even closer to championship glory. The Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Australia presented by Pirelli. The last round of their series will also be the penultimate round of the Shannons Nationals, the epic Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit on September 8 to 10. We hope you can join us for that one, but for now, thanks for joining us here at Queensland Raceway. We'll catch you next time for more Shannons Nationals.